Thank you for staying with us. Now, over 900 billion has been allocated to deal with failing road infrastructure for the next 3 years. But if there is no improvement in the rail network, this surely will be in vain. The destruction of the country's rail network has seen trucks move tons of freight on our roads. Let's discuss the view of the Automobile Association from its spokesperson, Layton Beard. Layton, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Of course, this is something that South Africans have been complaining about for years now in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of transportation in South Africa. When it comes to rail and what we saw in terms of people even protesting at PRASA, how far are we in South Africa to sorting this issue out, really?
Yeah, I think when you look at some of the news reports that are coming through and you listen to, what people are saying about the state of our roads and of our rail network, it's obviously very concerning. And there are, differing figures. Some people are telling you, 3 or 4 or 5 years is how long it's going to take to sort the rail network out. Other people are giving you as long as 10 or 15 years. So it certainly is a problem. And I think that road users have a case. They are very concerned about the quality of the roads they're driving on. And it's not only motorists, it's people who are passengers in buses and in other vehicles, as well as people who are using bicycles and motorbikes, and very importantly, pedestrians, who we know are the most at-risk road user group in our country. So road maintenance is absolutely critical, and you can put a finite date on it and say we're going to fix it in 3 or 4 years' time. I think for many people the problem is they're not seeing enough action at the moment to ensure that they have peace of mind that something has been done to deal with the problem.
And in the meantime, while people are throwing around figures, etc., Layton, what does this do to our economy, really? Because there's people like farmers, for instance, who rely on transporting their goods from one province to the next, or even one country to the next. And you find that they're delayed or they can't move because of the state of our roads.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to an interview on a local Gauteng radio station this morning with someone from Transnet, who was saying that we typically would have 47 trains driving from Durban to Gauteng to deliver goods, and at the moment that figure is as low as 5 trains a day because of the poor state of the rail network, and that just means that road freight is becoming more important, and we are relying more on road freight, which in and of itself is not an issue. But what needs to happen then is that with that increased volume on roads, we need a similar improvement or increase in the maintenance and the money we spend on maintenance on those roads. So we can't just have the roads having all of this volume and forget about them and say, well, that's going to sort itself out. No, we need to actually have a focus on ensuring that the maintenance on those roads is also done. So the impact on the economy is absolutely huge. If we don't have enough trains, obviously that means that goods are not being transported enough. We don't have the capacity to do that, and we are looking for alternatives. And the alternatives are not always the right alternatives, not only in terms of what the impact is on the road network, but in terms of volume. Are we able to transport the same volume of goods on the road network as we are on the rail network? So it does become extremely problematic, and there is a huge amount of investment that is needed not only in the rail network, but at the same time on the road network as well.
What is it that our government officials don't understand, that the more you don't maintain, the more damage it causes, and then the more it'll cost? The more you leave it, the more it'll cost later on.
Yeah, I think without being facetious, that's a question you should be posing to them. All I can tell you is that, from our point of view as the Automobile Association, we would like to see a road network that is in a good condition, not only from an economic point of view, in other words, that, there is viable mobility that occurs on those roads, but from a safety point of view. Roads that aren't maintained and kept up are a huge safety risk to all road users, pedestrians, motorists, passengers, you name it. So it's a massive issue for us. And we will continue to, on behalf of consumers and on behalf of all road users, continue to highlight the fact that maintenance simply has to be done. And it can't be piecemeal. You can't be doing one section of a road and fixing it and saying, well, my job is done. No, this is something that has to happen on an ongoing basis. And unfortunately, for too long, that maintenance aspect of it has been ignored. And this is the situation we're in at the moment. We have potholes on our roads. We have roads that aren't maintained, where people can't see what the oncoming traffic is doing. We have rolling blackouts, which means that obviously we can't use traffic lights. So these are the types of problems that are occurring. Why government isn't looking into that, I think you need to ask them. We would just like to see that situation reversed.
Yeah, you and I both, Layton, and I mean, you and I can discuss this until we're blue in the face, but until there's some action and accountability, I think that's the other problem in our country. No accountability, whether it be from government or even the private sector, is what leaves us where we are today. But before I let you go, the breaking news on eNCA, as I speak to you, funny enough, is that petrol, all grades of petrol go down by 71 cents a litre, diesel 84 cents a litre, and paraffin 43 cents a litre from tomorrow midnight. Your reaction to that comes as a huge relief to you and I, I'm sure.
No, it comes as a huge relief to every single consumer in the country. We know people are being battered by soaring interest rates. People are paying way more for debt this month than they were 8-10 months ago. And it's putting an enormous strain on every single South African, not only people who own vehicles. And a decrease in the fuel price is absolutely welcome, and obviously something that the AA welcomes. I think the big news in all of that is the fact that diesel is not going up. It's such a big input cost in all sectors, manufacturing, agricultural, retail, and all of these things. And when you see an increase to the diesel price, invariably you see, increases that are passed on to consumers. So the fact that the diesel price hasn't gone up is really good news for all consumers, and naturally something we welcome. The fact that the rand weakened the way it did over the last 2 weeks, it's stabilized a little now, may have an impact on July fuel prices, but obviously we'll monitor those figures in June to see what that gives us. But absolutely, the fact that all fuel prices are coming down in June is really good news, and I think something all consumers will welcome, as we do.
Because we all know that this also affects other things that consumers need to buy. Hopefully it continues on this trajectory. We need all the help we can get. Layton, thank you very much for your time. Layton Beard, the spokesperson of the Automobile Association.